Hi everyone, my name is Maria and I am the Green Stitcher here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. And welcome back to my returning viewers and welcome to anyone new who is joining for the first time. Thank you all so much for choosing to spend your time with me. This is a channel all about cross stitch and a bit of sewing and quilting, sometimes a bit of other crafts and a bit of life updates, gaming, books sometimes. But most of the videos and most of the time in the videos I spend sharing my cross stitch with you. So today at the end of July, by the way, I'm filming on the 28th of July. Today is Sunday. I am filming ahead of the end of the month, so I still have a couple of days of stitching worth to do, but I won't be able to film another video until probably next weekend, if not later. So I'm doing it today. The weather is great. It's not raining. It's sunny, but not yet sort of shining on my face into this room, so hopefully you'll be able to see things better. I suspect it might be a long one, not because of the amount of stitching, but because of the life update and the whole part of the video. And I'll do, like I always do, like a short sort of preview of what you will be able to see in this video in a second. So July, yeah, I did not stitch as much in July as I thought I would, and not as much as I could have because of the amount of free time I had. So in July, I think I filmed the video for you guys this Saturday. I think it was like 29th or one of the last days, 2 days of the month in June, with the June update. Fell ill the night of, and on the morning of the video being issued, I think it was the Sunday, the last Sunday of the month, I was ill already. Probably had COVID, of the tests were negative, so I was off work for a whole week, first week of July. And though I wasn't feeling completely sort of broken up and didn't have any fever and stuff that kept me in bed all day, you know, when you're sick you can't really look at the screen too much and your eyes get strained quite easily. So I only did a bit of stitching here and there when I could, and had a lot of naps, and was just watching some shows on Netflix and resting and getting better. Then in the middle of the month we went for a trip to Wales, and I was off for 2 weeks in July as well. This is my last day of my annual leave, and I'm going back to work tomorrow. So like I said, could have stitched more definitely, but didn't, and I'll explain why later in the video. It was a good month for sure. The weather has been much better. Like I said, we've been able to go on a trip, do a lot of house stuff, like the renovations, sort some things out that have been nagging us for a while. I did do a lot of very enjoyable stitching, and yeah, I would say had a really good month. If not completely finished, at least kickstarted some of the projects that I wanted to for a while during my holiday, so feeling really good. Let's have a look at my July stitching. You will probably be seeing this video at the end of the month. Where are we? Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm thinking. I know I'm gonna have to do other things today, so I might not be able to edit it, so that's why you're seeing it at the end of the month. As a lot of you guys, I imagine as well, I am very behind on my Flosstube watching. I have been trying to catch up, and I almost have. I think I am at the beginning of July in my Flosstube videos now, so that's already good. What I'll be talking to you about today is I will do mentions, as in who mentioned me in the videos in the month of July. I'll give a shout out. I'll show you my FFOs in plural, finishes in plural as well, one start, whips. Then I'll talk to you about other crafts. I will talk to you about plans for August, or the section that I like to call Wouldn't It Be Nice To. I will show you my other crafts that I've been doing during July, and at the end I will do life update plus haul intertwined, because all of the haul I had in July was purchased during the trip to Wales, which is part of the life update. So as always, I will leave the timestamps in the description, but also you'll see them, the time breakdown on the timeline of the video below, so you can skip or fast forward to a part that you want to watch or rewatch. Right, so let's get started with some mentions. And again, like I just said, I will say it again, unfortunately I'm really behind on my Flosstube, and I am trying to watch it in the chronological order so things make sense. And so I have not watched some of these videos where the Stitchers mentioned me, unfortunately, yet. I am, like I said, getting caught up, and I'm hoping to watch them this week, upcoming week for Monday. But here are the lovely Flosstubers who mentioned me in July. So one of the first ones was Caro Kirsch. I think she is a German stitcher who also knits. She has a lovely background with a lot of yarn behind her, and she mentioned me in July. Thank you so much, Caro. I think I've already watched her video and replied. Elizabeth Savory from Savory Sewing. I love her videos. I have been binge watching her in June and still in July, and I'm, like I said, I'm almost caught up with her videos. And same goes for Stephanie and Allison from Cross Stitch the Globe. They've actually mentioned me twice in July on different videos, and again, thank you so much. I will watch the videos and leave you guys comments under those when I do. Jen from Jen's Fiberweb as well. Love her videos, love her channel, have been watching it for months now. I think she was my binge of April or May, and yeah, I can't wait to see her newer videos and watch the one she mentioned me in. And then Anna from Viking Stitches, I've mentioned her before as well. She's a lovely stitcher living in the UK and stitching on a variety of projects, but also a Make It Pink design of Midna. So thank you, Anna, as well. I will, like I said, I will comment on your video once I get to it. One shout out I wanted to give myself. So like I said, I didn't have much time to watch Flosstube, but also was out of the house for a few days and doing other things, like I said. So I was only watching my sort of good old channels that I have been subscribed to for a while now, and the only new stitcher I found and discovered for myself in July was Miriam from Marumi Crafts. I'm sure you've heard her name and her channel mentioned before. She is a fantastic stitcher. She has, again, a variety of projects, materials, types of styles and patterns. She is a designer herself. She loves changing a lot of colors and elements in the designs, including the color of the fabric, and doing her own conversions, and has a fantastic very creative mind. And the thing that I loved the most, so I've watched her, I think it was a mid-year whip parade before she went on holiday. One of the things I loved the most is she was stitching a reproduction sampler where Adam and Eve were charted into, and she didn't want to stitch them and subbed them for the two main characters from the Good Omens show and the books by Neil Gaiman. So I absolutely love that. I think it's an absolutely brilliant idea, and if you haven't seen Miriam's videos before, I will link to her below. Go over and check her out, check out her patterns as well. She does absolutely lovely charting of not only beautiful and colorful patterns, but also patterns designed for great causes, which is lovely. So yeah, haven't watched anyone new besides Miriam, like I said, but once I've caught up with my current subscriptions, I'm hoping to introduce, I'm trying to sort of find at least one another new person every month, and you know, binge their videos if that's someone I feel, you know, sort of connected to and want to support. So that's about it for mentions. Now let's get to my own stitching in July. So For the FFOs section, I will start with something you haven't seen before, I don't think. And it's actually a re-FFO. I don't know if that's even a category, but I had a design I stitched from Dimensions a couple of years ago, I want to say maybe last year. It was already finished and framed. My cats knocked over the frame because it was standing on a chest of drawers and the frame broke, so I was looking for something else to FFO it into, and here is the final result that I got. So it's, like I said, it's a Dimensions kit from the Golden Nuggets collection, I believe. They have quite a few of these smaller designs, Christmas themed and sort of fruit themed and all sorts, and garden themed. So this is a watering can. And I swapped the fabric here for a linen, I believe. Trying to remember which one it was. Might have been my last piece of DMC white linen, 32 count. I've swapped the linen. I didn't do the ribbon on the sides. I didn't quite like that. I already had the padding and everything done for the background, but just used this sage green frame with white matte. It's stretched on a piece of acid-free cardboard with some padding. Same for the background fabric that was included in the kit, by the way. And so, yeah, here's my re-FFO. Lovely summery design. It was a lot of fun to stitch, I remember. I think I'm pretty sure I did it last summer, around that time. And then you have seen this guy and you have seen his companions. So I have released a video in July called my cross-stitched Christmas ornament. I will link to it here now if you haven't seen it yet. I haven't been stitching Christmas ornaments for too long yet, only a couple of years I think, and I don't have too big of a collection, but it is a collection, and most of mine are Mill Hills, with exception of a few Dimensions kits that I've stitched on perforated paper as well as Mill Hill. And you have also seen a series of Mill Hill red and green gnomes in there. I did show this guy, but he wasn't FFO'd yet, and I finally had the time to sit down, cut him out properly, and do the backing with felt. And that's, like I showed in that video, the way I FFO all of these gnomes, and then I use a little tree branch kind of stump to display them on a shelf or on a chest of drawers somewhere. So this is gnome holding ornaments. I finished him a couple of months ago, I want to say. I think you've seen the finish of it, but not, like I said, the FFO. So that takes me to 4 out of 5 gnomes in the series being finished and FFO'd, and then I only have one left to stitch that I haven't started yet, so I'm hoping to do it this year at some point. I would love to finish the series this year. So that was my second FFO. Only took a few minutes, but you know, even a few minute FFO sometimes takes 2 days to sort of prep for and get in the mood for. The next FFO was actually a finish of July as well that you haven't seen yet. So I will first insert the photos of the finished design here. So part of my plan for July was try and stitch on all of my Christmas pieces and join Christmas in July stitching. However, I did not hold on to my plans for too long, and I was really excited to stitch Halloween designs for whatever reason. But one of the plans was to finish the Winter Hair by Nora Corbett, which I did. I think it was one of the first things I stitched on during July, and I absolutely enjoyed working on him. I love the darker fabric I chose, so this is stitched on 32 count Picture This Blast linen in color Dawn, and I have stuck to everything called for in the pattern. The only thing I didn't like was the whisper thread because it wasn't consistently wispy. I might need to sort of find some tutorials or sort of guides on how to better use it to keep it, you know, nice and fluffy. But yeah, the rest of it was absolutely fantastic to stitch. Like I said in my post on Instagram about it, the colors and the variety of materials was something that I really enjoyed working with here. So it uses DMC cotton floss, silks. It calls for 2 Karen Water Lily silks that are just beautiful, and the variegation in the background that you see is because of the silk. And then you have the Whisper, like I said, you have a couple of colors of Krynic, you have beads as well, you have these lovely treasures shaped like leaves. So all in all, absolutely fantastic design to stitch. I loved working on it, and I am so happy I stitched it. It was a quite quick turnaround. So I started it as a mania start 2 months ago in May, and then stitched on it some more. I think I stitched more than half of it during the week I stitched on it in May. Then the other half, like I said, I did in July. And then I had bought a couple of wooden frames for just displaying some photos at home, and I didn't like it for photos for some reason, and they were just stacked away for some other future, you know, project. I did suspect they might be the perfect size for the winter hair, and I was right. And when I pulled them out and I sort of tried them on to see if they would be a good fit, they absolutely were. So I besides, as you might have guessed, as we were talking about the FFO section of July, not only did I finish winter hair in July, I also FFO'd him. So here is what I have in the end. It's a wooden frame with this beautiful aged effect and lovely, as you can see, lovely 3D elements in the frame. And the winter hair fit absolutely perfectly in here, as you can see. I just left a tiny border on the sides to sort of separate them from the frame. And to me, it just looks like a tree trunk in the winter forest where the hair is running, covered in ice or snow. And just, I love that it's like it's a really chunky frame, as you can see. And I think it fits here just absolutely beautifully. The darker fabric is great, I think. Again, it gives you that feeling of hair running at night, because you do have the crescent moon, you have the tops of the trees glistening in the moonlight. Those are stitched with Krynic, and so is some of the snow in here. So absolutely love how it turned out, and so happy that I was able to use frames from Stash to a frame from Stash to FFO it. The reason I'm referring to frames in plural, because I have another one of these same size, and you will see it in my haul section. I bought a companion piece to the winter hair that I'm planning to stitch very, very soon, but I'll talk to you about it in a few minutes. I don't put any glass in my stitching, especially if it has, you know, beads and treasures, so you can see, you know, the full glory of all of the materials, all of the textures, and you can, you know, come over and give it the touch. So happy. That was a successful Christmas in July plan. Mission accomplished. Right, and then the last FFO is actually, I don't even know if there's an acronym for this. So not only did I finish it in July, I also started it in July. So it's a SAF start and finish and FFO of July. I have been wanting to join Stephanie's birthday sale. So Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe was turning 40 in July and was having a stitch along where she was inviting everyone to stitch on a Liz Matthews pattern. And like I said, because I'm behind on my Flosstube, I only sort of remembered and watched the video with the proper dates and everything about it. I think a few days before we went on holiday. It was like the middle of the month. I thought it would be perfect to start a design on exactly on Stephanie's birthday. But I just couldn't wait any longer, and I started a few days earlier. So I have had a look at all of the Liz Matthews patterns on her Etsy, and chose a tiny Halloween design that I'll insert the preview of here. And that is Boo by Liz Matthews. Hello from Liz Matthews. And I needed something quick. I needed something that I can buy digitally, like I said, so I don't have to go to a store and buy a proper, physical copy and have to wait for it. I also didn't want to buy the called for colors, because I think I only had one, and then the rest I decided to pull from a stash. I'll mention her again later in the video, but I watched Megan's, the Seattle Stitchers video about dyeing fabric with red dye in July, and I was really inspired to try and dye some of my own fabric, and so I did for this piece as well. I'll insert the picture. You might have seen it on my Instagram already. I have dyed fabric with red dye before, but I haven't used the same sort of technique where you crunch it up and put it in a small container that is tall to not let it unravel and make it have mottling and uneven dyeing, which is exactly what I wanted. I was so pleased and happy with the results of the fabric that, like I said, I decided to stitch the design ahead of time and didn't wait for July 16th, which was Stephanie's birthday, and had the best time picking out the colors from my own stash. So I think I pulled from 2 designs that I had previously stitched and had leftovers from. I used the floss from the Jeanette Douglas pumpkin design, and also some of the colors from the Jeffrey's stocking by Shepherd's Bush that I stitched a couple of months ago. And so I got a bit of a sort of moodier, darker color palette, and I absolutely loved it. And here again, I'll insert the picture, is my finished result. I stitched it on the hand-dyed fabric that I used. So this was a 32 count Belfast linen, over dyed with taupe red dye with this lovely mottling. I absolutely loved how it turned out, and I used like I said, a combination of Classic Colorworks and probably Gentle Arts, and I added one color. I think I subbed one color, as you can see. So the pumpkin stems are meant to be brown, and I wanted a green in there. It was actually my husband's idea. When I pulled all of the colors that I wanted to use in the design and had the fabric in front of me, I sort of asked him. So he is often my fashion / design advisor on colors and things. He has a really good eye for that, and so if we're sort of getting dressed to go somewhere and I've pulled together an outfit, I'll ask him about some specific details. Does this look better tucked in, or these earrings, or those, that sort of thing. So he helps me with my stitching sometimes as well, to make sort of help me with decisions on a specific color, or yeah. So he suggested I use a green, which I absolutely loved, and I did end up using it, as you can see here. And I think I used a couple of purples instead of one. I used a few oranges as well instead of one. And I think all of the pumpkins are meant to be stitched in the same color on the outside. And then the Boo writing is supposed to be the color of the inside of the pumpkins, and like I said, I've made myself an electronic version, digitized it for Cross Stitch Saga, and while I was doing that, I changed the colors and recharted some of the bits. So all of my pumpkins are different shades of orange. The writing is in a different shade of orange as well, and the only color, like I said, that is called for, I used where it was meant to be, was this beigey sort of light brown, I think it's called chickpea, but yeah, so if anyone's interested in this specific conversion and the specific colors I used, please feel free to message me down below or on Instagram. It's Maria_the_Green_Stitcher. I have it written down somewhere, but I don't remember it by heart at the moment. It was my FFO from yesterday. I thought if I'm filming the video today, it would be really nice to, you know, fully finish it as well in July. So I FFO'd it into this lovely little pillow, and I think it was meant to be a pillow anyways, except it was meant to be using chenille trim, and I haven't worked with it before. I wanted to use piping on the edge, but that turned out to be a bit more complicated than I thought in terms of sewing, so I ended up just sewing it together front with back, and then just doing this a last seam to sort of give it a bit of an edge, and then just stuff the middle of it. I absolutely love how it turned out. Obviously I had to stitch this design because it has 2 black cats, and I think the colors just turned out great. They're, like I said, darker and moodier than the ones called for, but I absolutely loved, and it was so much fun for me to have such a spontaneous start, to pull everything from Stash. These are all over dyed cottons from Stash. It was so much fun to dye my own fabric for it as well, and do the FFOing myself as well. So this was definitely a love project, and I saw other stitchers using the method of sewing the whole pillow, you know, all continuous seam, and then having a cut in the back and turning it inside out through the back, and then covering it with a felt patch, which I really liked. And so that's exactly what I did. I glued it down first just in case, and then I did sort of a decorative stitch that reminds me of, I don't know, spider webs maybe, and used a cute button from Stash. So love it. Just used black fabric on the back, nothing super special, but yeah, I'm really happy how it turned out. I will have to learn to use piping on a different sewing project, I guess, but it was such a joy, such a love project, and I was so happy to join Stephanie's Sal and celebrate her birthday by, you know, stitching a Liz Matthews for her. That was all of my FFOs, I believe. 4 of them, yes. I don't think I had anything else FFO'd this month. In terms of finishes, like I said, I only had 2, and that was the winter hair and the Boo pillow. I have only started Boo in July as well. I was actually surprised. I had to look at my stats at my spreadsheet, and I was surprised that Boo was the only thing I started, which is fine. I like, if you've seen my video with the mid-year whip parade, which I'll link to here if you haven't, I reached 18 whips by the beginning of July, and that was a lot, and I have not had that many for a while, or maybe ever. I'm just trying to have a look how many I have at the moment. I went down 1 whip to 17 because I finished the hair. Boo was start and finish of July, so yeah, but that's good already. Whips. I did manage to stitch on some of my whips, and some of them were even Christmas themed, just as I planned for July. Some of them were Halloween though, so I'll probably show you the whips. Let's do it in the order of the amount of stitches I've done on them. So the one I did the least stitches on, and only stitched I think for a day, was the Big Mill Hill I'm currently stitching. So this is the B Square by Mill Hill. It's an old design, 1997, that was re-released a few years ago, and I got a kit from one of my favorite cross stitch stores I'll mention later in the video. It lives in a bag I made for myself that matches a bigger project bag I have for an anchor kit. This is all of the flosses with the beads and the buttons, and I'm stitching it on the perforated paper that was in the kit, as I do love perforated paper, and I'm using Neocraft's magnetic frame holder, but you can buy them from other brands on the internet. So I only made tiny progress on it in July, I'm afraid. I've only done, I think, about 100 stitches, but yeah, here we have it. I think I've started using the beads and the special stitches in this border on the left and giving it a bit more love. I started it on the 22nd of June, or 23rd of June, to celebrate my friend's birthday, and the actual birthday start on the 22nd of June. I stitched on as well in the month of July, so I'll show you that in a second. I have this lovely bee needle minder in here, and yeah, I'm using everything called for, not changing anything, and really loving stitching on the specialty stitches here. Next, I stitched on one of my Christmas designs in July, and that was the 12 Days of Christmas by Stony Creek. You have seen it before, and you will be seeing it for a few more months because I'm still not done with it. It's a lovely Christmas pattern that I am stitching on one of my favorite fabrics ever, which is a green witchelt. And here is where I got to in July. So I stitched on it for a few days and managed to do exactly what I planned. So I finished days 6 and 7. I think I'm done with birds now, except for day 1, the partridge in a pear tree that I am stitching last. I think what I had left on it was just a bit of backstitch, and so I did that, and they turned out just lovely, as they always do. If I haven't said it yet, it is a 32 count witchelt linen in color Water Lily. It's a lovely light green, and I think it's turning out great. The floss is all called for, and the fabric is called for color, but not called for count. I think it calls for 28, but I do prefer 32. And there is no, there's only one color of beads here that imitates berries and goes on all of the designs into, I think it is just stitched on 3 spaces. So I wasn't worried about subbing the count for a smaller one. There are a lot of fractional stitches, 3/4 stitches, which is very sort of typical of Stony Creek designs, but I absolutely love that. It gives you really nice crisp edges between the colors, and then when you're doing backstitch on top of that, the stitches just lay so nicely. So I'm hoping to work on it some more in August and do day 8 here and get myself closer to a finish on this. I now have so the central element is fully done, and then I've got 6 of the 12 Days of Christmas finished as well, and I'm hoping to at least do a day a month for the next few months, if not a bit more, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel. You know, when you love a design but you've been stitching on it so long, you kind of feel like you're done and you need to be finished with it. I think I'm getting that feeling with this, so I might just try and get a bit more done every month to have it finished earlier than the beginning of next year. I have about, let me have a look. I have about 8,000 with bits left on it. That's quite a lot still. We'll see. It depends on my time, and if I want to pick it up, there is a chance I could actually finish it this year, which would be great, but we'll see. A lot of other lovely designs to stitch and start and work on, so we'll see. But yeah, love how it's turning out. The swan, the same as the 2 doves that I'll show you when it's all done, uses a lot of I think it's Madeira's Glisten Gloss floss that is blended with all of the cotton colors in the bird, and it's just lovely and shiny and very delicately shining, not sort of in your face. And then the other Christmas design I've been working on, I was hoping to finish it in July, and I took it on our trip to Wales with me, but I didn't have much stitchy time, and like I said, because I didn't have anything to hold it and I'm stitching it on a small nurse hoop, I could only do a couple hundred stitches at a time before I had to put it away. This is a Dimensions Gold Petite kit from the series of Christmas ornaments with musical instruments. Most of them are, except for a mistletoe. So this is going to be my last one in the series. There's 4 altogether. I'm only stitching 3. This is the 3rd one. And I've made quite a good progress on it and stitched about 1,000 stitches. I'll show you as it is in the hoop because I'm still working on it. I have completely finished the violin in terms of cross stitching. I have started doing some backstitch on the leaves, a bit of the pine needles here. I think you can see I've done the half stitches in the background in this section. So this is all completed in terms of crosses and half crosses, and I'm starting to do more backstitch, and then I'm hoping to just move the hoop one last time and finish the right top corner here, because this whole section is already completely done. I think I only have 1,000 left to do, which again, I'm hoping that it might be an August finish. I would really love to just get done with these, FFO them. I already have an idea and all of the materials, and have them displayed in our home for the holidays. And it's a travel project, so it has all of the things you need to stitch on it when you travel. I've got a little tin for orts. I keep a pair of scissors here in a case so they don't pierce through the fabric or the vinyl on the front. This is by Neocraft, the same guys who designed the magnetic frames I'm stitching Mill Hill on, and it's a wooden base with eco leather, and you just sew these little pieces of leather on. And then I'm using, as I always do, one of these floss and needle organizers, just tucking it away. Besides stitching on Christmas designs in July, I also plan to stitch on 2 of my big projects that I try to stitch monthly on. That was the Japanese garden and Siri, but I didn't have the time for the Japanese garden this month. I am hoping I'll pick it up again in August, but we'll see. But I did mention to make really lovely progress on Siri, so I'll insert the picture for you here now. It is a Hannah Alexander design artwork charted by Make It Pink, Ashley May, and I am stitching the version you see in the middle with all of the lovely background and roses and frame and everything. The biggest one she's made. She was my first Mania start in 2024. I have been working on her every month since, made really good progress on her in the month of May as well, but also like I said, I'm trying to stitch at least 1,000 on her every month with Lera Stitch Power, who is stitching Link from the same designer, and I'm also trying to add another 1,000 on top of that, so do 2,000 stitches all in all every month, just so it doesn't take me 10 years to stitch her. So here is where I got to in July. So she's being stitched on 32 count Witchet linen, like I said, which is my favorite. I over dyed a sandstone color with taupe red dye, using the old method that I didn't know before I watched Megan's video. So I just sort of I crunched it up in a few places, but then I laid it flat at the bottom of my tub, and it doesn't have as much mottling as I would like it to, but that's absolutely fine. I'm trying to sort of go for a parchmenty feel here, and most of the design itself, I think it's almost full coverage if you sort of count half stitches, so it's only the sides that will be visible, so that's absolutely fine. So this month I have been working on this section mostly, as you can see. So I have stitched more of the sort of skirt parts in this section, did all of the back stitch on it as well, and then had a lot of fun stitching on her boot and the mixing, you know, the metallic and the cotton floss. That was a lot of fun. So it's such an easy and nice stitch. You would be surprised that I'm saying that probably. So Ashley May's designs, Make It Pink designs, have a lot of fractional stitches, and when I say a lot, what you think is a lot, double that or even triple that, because every single element contains I call them narrow cross stitches that only take half a square vertically or horizontally, or quarter stitches or 3/4 stitches in every single element, and that gives you such amazing detailing on all of the elements. You know, the shoe looks so delicate, so intricate. Every fold in the dress and the skirt look so you know, worked out and detailed and fleshed out. And once I figured out, like I said, a way that works for me, which is, like I said, using narrow cross stitches. If you want to know more about it and what I mean by it, watch my video with Siri that I filmed in May. But yeah, once I figured that out, it became such a relaxing, easy stitch for me. It has big chunks of same color. It also has the fractional stitches, like I said, which makes it more interesting than just huge chunks of color, and it's just an absolute joy to stitch. It's the 2000 that I self-imposed on myself are just not a burden at all, and is an absolute joy to add. I think I also worked a little bit in this section. I was sort of thinking I'll do 1,000 here and go back for another 1,000 here, but I just couldn't stop. Once I've done the crosses and the half crosses in this section, I've decided I wanted to do all of the back stitch. There's a lot of it as well, so I'm always doing my back stitch as I go, not to leave it all till the end. And like I said, it's just, I think it's gorgeous. She's fantastic. I think I'm almost done with my first spool of this Krynic, and I don't think I've used any others just yet, but she is fantastic and gorgeous. I think I have reached the 10% mark now, which is great. I'm happy that it only took me a couple of months to sort of reach this point, and I think I'm at 7,000 something mark at this point, because the whole design is about 75,000 stitches. So my plan for her, as always, is to try and stitch on her every month, do 2,000 stitches, and hopefully you'll see some lovely progress on her in August as well. And then the last whip of July has a bit of a backstory that I promised to tell you in my previous monthly update, and now that everything's sorted out and straightened out, I can actually do that. So I have purchased a kit from Shepherd's Bush called the Garden Spells through a UK store that ordered it for me, and at the beginning of spring, March, and it took it 3 months to reach me here in the UK. Reason being, they take a while to get things together. Then they've got a lot of events happening in spring in their Shepherd's Bush store, and then it takes a while to get through the customs, especially things coming from US, from that side of US, I've been told, take a while to clear customs. So I have ordered it because I wanted to treat myself to this lovely design, specifically in a kit. And when I received it, I have noticed that few of the colors that were meant to be silks were actually substituted with DMC floss, and so that was the sort of confusion that I had on my part, and I was working through it with the store that, you know, specially ordered it for me, and the lovely ladies from Shepherd's Bush, and so it's all sorted, all arranged now. the kit that I have wasn't put together specifically for me when it was ordered. I suspect it's been sat on their shelf somewhere in stock for some time now, because as they said, during COVID they struggled with sourcing the FFOs silks, which were the ones that were substituted in this one. And then once I received it and sort of alerted them to the fact that I had the wrong flosses in the design, they were quite quick to respond and sent me a little letter with the right colors and a lovely postcard. So it's all sorted now, and I have started working with those colors as well. So this design lives in my Halloween bag that I made myself. Absolutely love this fabric, so silly and so beautiful. It houses all of the the 15 pages of the shepherd's bush instructions, which I'm really glad to have and really grateful for, because they have such lovely detailed instructions for all of the specialty stitches, and there's a lot of them here. They also include the sort of little photo of the stitch design without the framing. Like I said, I got the lovely card from Shepherd's Bush with the silk floss, and then I'm using the kit organizer to put all of my flosses on here. And you might see that these are the FFOs that had DMC, so I just left them here for now, and then I can sort them into my stash later. I really wanted to use the original organizer because it looks just so cute and lovely, but I wanted somewhere to park my needles as well. So what I've done is Frankenstein an organizer for myself. I've glued a piece of felt in the back, and I'm parking the floss next to, the color that it's meant to be, which is not the most ideal, but it's working for me. And so I have really enjoyed working on this project. At first, I wasn't sure I was going to love stitching with one strand of silk on 32 count over 2. I have never done that before, I think. I think I've only stitched one shepherd's bush design on a 36 1 over 2 before, and I really like I said, I wasn't sure that was going to work, but having stitched quite a few elements now, I think I'm at a good mark of like 30%. I'll show you in a second. I actually fell in love with the delicacy that it gives you, the gentle effect of the floss. It still shows all of the variegation. It's still quite nice coverage, but like I said, you get this very delicate look. The colors are just my favorite. It's a lot of these olive greens, purples, and dusty rose, and a bit of mustard ones as well. So like I said, my favorite color palette. And then the color of the fabric is just the best. I have no idea who dyes this. I think I already asked you in my previous video, and if you do know, feel free to let me know in the comments, or if you recognize the name. I stitched on it for a good few days at the beginning of the month and made a progress of 1,000 stitches. And then in the middle of the month, before I went on holiday, when I received the missing silk floss, I went on and, inspired by the new added colors that I was, avoiding on the design, waiting for the floss to arrive, I've stitched some of the border and stitched some of the other elements, and stitched another 1,000 on it. So here is where I am today, and I am in love. This is just such a gorgeous, unique project. The fabric it's stitched on is called Deadly Nightshade, and like I said, I'm not sure who the dyer is. I think somebody sort of custom dyes it for Shepherd's Bush for this design. It is a 32 count linen. I'm stitching with one strand of silk over 2 fabric strands, and like I said, it gives you this beautiful, gentle look, but you can still see all of the variegation. So the kit uses 3 types of silk. I think it's got Gloriana, FFOs, and Thread Gatherer. and the other soies are the ones that are not variegated as far as I know, and then all of the others are. Even the sort of this cream color is ever so slightly variegated. You might not be able to see it on camera, but you can see it in real life for sure. So I think the only thing I showed you last month was the heart and a little bit of the fence and this central element, central bottom element stitched, and then everything else, as you can see, was added in July. Like I said, I absolutely enjoyed, especially the specialty stitches. I am finding that I am really enjoying the designs with specialty materials and stitches more and more. Not that I'm bored of cross stitch, like I said, but I want the variety. I want the fun of doing something slightly different within the design. So yeah, I've started the border, as you can see. I think this is about halfway vertically, and this is almost halfway as well. The sheep is completely done except for a button that it's missing, that I'm doing a bit later. The whole hail with the pumpkins is just absolutely fantastic. Loved working those pumpkins. The fence was a lot of fun to do. Yeah, just like I said, a lovely, lovely design. The hat is meant to be just black and invisible. I'm not sure what the second color is. I had a look on the chart, I had a look on the preview. There is no second color in the hat, so I think I'm gonna just leave it as is. And yeah, I'm using a magnet by Kate Blanford, I think, from Etsy, who I've linked to before many times. She is a lovely crafter of accessories for cross stitch and needle minders as well. I just absolutely couldn't stop stitching on it. I enjoyed it so much, and I think I will not be putting it aside until it's done. The colors, the combination with the color of the fabric, the delicate look that the one-stranded silk gives you. So the whole design, like I said, is stitched with silk except for one DMC floss that will be used in the skin of the witch, in the face and the hands, which I haven't got to just yet. And yeah, I think it's one of my favorite whips at the moment. There is also an embellishment pack that comes in the kit that contains buttons to sew on at the very end. I hope you'll be able to see. A pumpkin and some stars and round buttons to imitate apples. So I'm just so excited to work on it some more. I started it on the 22nd of June as a birthday stitch along with my friend Masha. She started a shepherd's bush as well, and like I said, I put it aside for after that one day because of the mix up with the floss, and I whilst I was waiting for it to arrive, I was stitching on it some more in July. So that was all of my whips and all of my finishes and starts. Like I said, it wasn't a lot of stitching. I think I only did 10,000 stitches this month, which is a bit more than in June, but still quite a lot less than my other months, which was absolutely fine. July was busy with holidays, with seeing friends, with going out to and seeing some shows, going to cinema. So it was a lot of fun. It was a busy, lovely month, but not as much stitching, which is fine. The next bit I want to talk to you about is my plans, or the section that I call Wouldn't It Be Nice To. And there's a couple of things I am planning to do in August besides just my regular stitching. And if you hear some noises in the background, that is my neighbors doing some renovations, but it's too hot of a day to close the windows. So August is I don't really have a theme for August, and I think it's sort of still a summery month and we're not sort of transitioning into autumn just yet. So I don't think I'll be starting any autumn designs that I have planned for this year. but I have a couple that are sort of occasion based. So on August 4th, it is my friend Lera's birthday, Lera from the Lera Stitch Power channel, and I was going to I'm hoping to have a start from one of her and my favorite designers, Paradise Stitch from Create and Uplift. And I think I've shown you this design in my favorite stash patterns in my recent video, and I'll insert the picture here again. It is a Spider Lily fan by Paradise Stitch, like I said. It is a gorgeous design with fantastic color palette. I have stitched a few of her designs before. I don't think I've shown them on my channel just yet, just because of the timing. When I started my channel in March, since I started my channel in March, I haven't stitched anything of hers, but I did finish a design of hers at the beginning of 2024 that I'll show you later in the year. So Spider Lily is one of the designs in the series of fans that she's charting at the moment, and I think it's going to be my first one that I'm stitching. I've been meaning to start it for a while now, and so I'm really excited to do that next Sunday. I will show you the fabric that I'm planning to be using just in a few minutes in the next section, and it's not what you might think it is going to be. And then on August 6th, my two lovely cats, Valera and Moira, are turning 1 year old, and I wanted to start something to do with black cats again, though I have been stitching something to do with black cats almost every month. I will show you that in my haul again. I have picked up a couple of really cute Cotton Pixels designs in my haul. I'm not sure which one or both, but I'm planning to start a design or both of them on August 6th. And then I think that's it for sort of any like I said, occasion-based plans. I'm hoping to stitch on Siri as always. I'm hoping to stitch on my 12 Days of Christmas by Stony Creek. I'm hoping to make some more progress on the Japanese garden and get it closer to a finish. I'm suspecting the garden spells by Shepherd's Bush will not let me put them aside, and I will want to stitch some more on them as well. And I'm hoping to finish the Dimensions violin ornament design as well in August. That's probably more stitching that I can do already if I properly counted. I might do some more starts that are spontaneous, who knows. That is all I am hoping to work on in August. And then before we get to life update and haul, I wanted to show you a couple of other things I've been working on in the month of July to do with other hobbies. I did make a really lovely project bag, however I can't show you on the channel because it's a gift for someone who is watching my channel. I'll show you that when the parcel reaches that person. I also worked on my quilt, my first ever quilt in July. It is a kit by Melanie Patch. You can find her on Etsy. She sells kits as well as just patterns, and this is Serenity. It's a kit I got from my husband as a gift a few years ago now that has been set in my stash, and I haven't been brave enough to do anything about it. But now that I'm picking up more sewing and sort of making pillows and project bags and organizers and scroll frame covers, I am finding the courage to start working on it. So it's a lovely muted green and beige quilt with some blue accents. And what I've done in July, I haven't started it technically yet, but not only did I wash and iron all of my fabrics, I spent yesterday afternoon cutting them all up, as you can see. So all of the patterned fabrics are now ready to go. I've got a few different sizes of blocks here. There are some longer ones, square, smaller squares, and I will be playing around with, you know, piecing them together and seeing what sort of shapes and sizes of blocks I want to do. I also have the backing fabric here, which was not in the kit, but I think goes along with the rest of the design quite nicely. It's this leafy green color and a sort of light cream base. So yeah, really excited. I have the last piece of fabric I need to cut up is the sort of taupey beige that is used on the border and in between all of the other elements. But I'm really hoping that in August I will show you at least a couple of these blocks fully stitched up and ready to be, you know, assembled. So that was really exciting. And then, as I mentioned before, I watched CF Stitcher's video on dyeing fabrics with red dye. I got really inspired, and besides dyeing that piece of linen for the Boo pillow by Hello from Liz Matthews, I have dyed a few pieces of fabric for my future projects. So I'll show you a few. One of them is really large. I'm just trying not to drop it on the floor again. But I have I've purchased a few more colors of red dye and was experimenting and playing around with the different combination of them and different order of them. If you haven't watched Megan's video, I don't know if I can link to someone else's. I will try. If I can, I'll try to link to her video here. If not, then you'll see it in the description, the link to it. It's a really fantastic way to dye your own fabric, be it linen or even weave or Aida, at home by yourself, which is definitely a very fun and creative project, but also obviously it saves you hobby funds. So one of the first pieces I've dyed is this lovely grayish purplish color. So this is not what I was hoping to get, but I still love how it turned out. These all three, I'll show you three pieces, are based on 32 count Belfast linen by Zweigart, and this used a charcoal gray red dye. So this is the fabric I was dyeing for the spider lily design that I'm planning to start on August 4th. I was going for a lighter mottled effect, but got this very moody, dark, like I said, taupey, grayish, purplish sort of color, which I absolutely love anyways, and I think I'm going to stitch on it anyways. It's going to have a different effect, but I think it's going to be lovely. Lovely mottling, like I said. I loved how Megan suggested to use, like I said, a small tall container, so you can scrunch up your fabric and really have that mottled effect on it. So that is piece number one. And what I've done with them slightly differently than she says is I serged them. That's one thing, just a zigzag stitch on my sewing machine, and then I pre-washed them with just dish soap to get any sort of residual chemicals that that Zweigart might be using to sort of give it, you know, some shape and body, and let it take the dye a bit better. And then when I'm dyeing, I'm also adding some salt and dish soap into the water as the RIT bottle recommends on it. And then when I rinse it, like I said, I rinse it till it's clear, till the water runs clear, and then I iron it with a hot iron without steam to let the color set even better. So that's piece number one. So I'm hoping you'll see a start on it very soon. Piece number two is going to be it's one of my favorites from this. I'm trying to decide which side I like more. I think this one. This is a piece of green linen that I dyed for this design. You will see the preview here. So I've got this set of floss for the Woodland Spirit by Owl Forest Embroidery that I'm planning to start on my birthday this year. and I didn't buy the kit. Like I said, I only have the floss and the pattern, and I wanted to dye fabric for it for a while now, and having dyed the other pieces made me again brave enough and confident enough to try and do this. I'm hoping while I'm sort of showing you that you are getting the right color and not gray. It's an absolutely gorgeous green with yellow splotches with darker green. This is all one color of dye. This is not multiple colors. And I did shake it well, I promise. But yeah, it kind of looks like a semi-precious gemstone. I love my greens, you know me, and then yeah, I love how it turned out. I think I've already sort of did a floss toss of the pack floss on this fabric, and I love how it turned out. I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous when I started in November. And then the last piece is the biggest, and again, it didn't turn out as I planned, but it's gorgeous, and I think I might still try and do this design on it. So I'll insert a picture here first. I bought this pattern from Vitlanka a couple months ago. This is Tsar lady, and she is, for me, a goddess of the sun who brings in the sun on her lovely boat, and you know, the sun replaces the moon in the sky. And I was the called for fabric is this neutral grayish, warm grayish color, which I didn't like, and I've been thinking about getting a dual toned fabric for it that has like a darker blue at the bottom to symbolize the sea, or you know, the bottom of the sky, and then the top to be a lighter blue or purplish to symbolize, you know, the sunrise. And what I dyed for it, I'll move aside for a bit, is this. Oh, you can see actually really well. So I've gone a bit out there, let's say that, and I've done this. Again, this is 30 count Belfast linen by Zweigart. I haven't counted if it shrank a lot, but Megan's method let me do this gorgeous mottling on it. I can't believe I dyed it myself, honestly. So the colors I used here, this was the longest one because I wanted to give this dual toned effect. I didn't want the colors to mix too much, and I wanted to make sure that I am giving it, you know, a good amount of time to have to take in the color. So the purple is called literally purple, the blue is indigo, and what I've done is I washed it while it was wet and crunched up half of it and dyed the bottom half with indigo blue first, and then I dyed all of it. I waited for a few minutes, I think 15 or maybe 20. I rinsed all of that, and then I scrunched up the whole piece of fabric and used purple all over. And when I took it out and saw that the bottom was still quite light, it was a much lighter, sort of light royal blue color. I've mixed new batch of blue and charcoal gray that I used on the other piece to give it a bit more depth and definition. And then I've got this. So I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I think it looks really, really good. It's much brighter and much more vibrant of a color than I was envisioning for this design. So I wouldn't mind if you let me know what you think in this case. Is this fabric too bright and colorful for this pattern? I am a little bit concerned the reds on the dress will be clashing because I already have two very strong colors, and then the reds might be too much. I'm not so worried about the colors of the boat and the sky and the sun, but yeah, the dress. So if you could let me know if you think this fabric would be good for this design, I would be very grateful. So yeah, I will definitely be doing it more in the future. Like I said, it was a lot of fun to experiment, to be this creative, to just, you know, try and match the idea you have for a project. And then the last bit I wanted to mention about my other crafts, sort of craft related. I have been organizing some bits in my Stitchy corner. So you might have noticed one of my little drawers for sewing threads is gone because Valera, my boy cat, just couldn't resist going in there and trying to steal my floss. And I had to sort of come up with a different idea to organize it. The lovely organizer from Amazon that I showed you before with, you know, open drawers that don't have any sort of closure on the front weren't working for me anymore, so I had to make up something else. I'll move across here so you can see better. I've gotten a set of drawers from IKEA. I'm sure you've seen these before. I have stained them and oiled them with fabric, with furniture oil, and the drawers that I had in the other organizer, me and my husband got a project, cut them up with a miter saw, and then I've glued the dowels down and then put the floss back in. So this way I used the shelves, so this is what I mean. These were the shelves that were in that organizer. We just cut them up to match the size of these IKEA drawers, and then I have them tucked away where my cats can't reach them, but I still have them in easy access for myself when I want to do some sewing. This is just my small collection of the Gutermann sewing threads. And then I've put a few other things in this chest of drawers. So I've got all of my pearl cottons now in one place. And I've got all of my floss organizing accessories in one place as well. So I had a lot of fun reorganizing the space here and making things a bit more comfortable for myself and introducing some new pieces of storage and new decorative pieces, and yeah. So next bit will be my life update and haul, like I said, intertwined. So like I said, July was our holiday month. We finally managed to get 2 weeks off from work, both of us at the same time, and go on a little trip to Wales to celebrate our wedding anniversary. And while we were there, which we pre-planned, obviously, we decided to drop by 2 fantastic cross-stitch stores located in northern Wales, the Nimble Thimble, run by Chris and the team, and Create Nostalgia, run by Mary and the team. Absolutely lovely, fantastic ladies and their teams. It was so much fun going to both of them. It was very different vibe just on the days, but I'll get into it in a bit more detail in a second. So like I said, we've been working more on the house while we were off on holiday, trying to do renovations and sort out the shelves in the living room. I will show you the picture once we're done so you can see our sort of home library with all of the books and manga and board games. Then we went on the trip and walked on top of the tallest aqueduct in the world. And then on day 2, as we planned, we went to visit the Nimble Thimble near Oswestry. I will leave the link to the website below, but I will say, with all the respect, the website is not great. There is no search engine on it, and the designs that I know they have in the store are either not in the right category on the website or are just not on the website. So this is the place I recommend going to in person if you're ever in northern Wales. They work from Tuesday to Saturday from 10 to 2 at this moment, as of July 2024. And they are happy to have visitors, and you don't need to make an appointment. And it's a lovely converted cottage that has an absolute variety of designers, patterns, materials, and styles. I will insert a few pictures here that I was allowed to take, and you will see the absolute beauty of this place. wall to wall you see finished and framed cross stitch pieces. They are absolutely fantastic, and seeing them in person and seeing them stitched up definitely inspires you and enables you to buy some of them and stitch them, just because, like I said, you saw them in person. So I had prepped for going to both the cross stitch stores, and I had obviously had a certain budget allocated to this trip. I have been saving for a couple months now, so I was able to allow myself to splurge a bit more than I normally would. The couple of things I was going for to the Nimble Thimble store were, I really wanted to get a kit by the Drawn Thread. So the lovely team at the Nimble Thimble buy and kit up silks for specific drawn thread designs. You will buy a pack with the design, with the fabric they cut for it to size, and also all of the called for silks, which is one of the reasons I wanted to buy one from them specifically. They have a large variety of designs, but the one that caught my eye the most, and I just absolutely fell in love with, was this design that I'm hoping you're seeing FFO'd. I took a picture of it, but I'm not sure if the green of the fabric is translating on camera very well. So it's called the Moonlight Garden by the Drawn Thread, and it's a fantastic garden sampler with a gorgeous floral border and a lot of specialty stitches. I've never stitched a drawn thread before. Like I said, I was meaning to get one from the store, and the kit, like I said, consists of the pattern, the fabric, and the silks that they have cut specifically to length and added into the pack for you to stitch with. And the color of the fabric here, as you might see, doesn't match the color of the fabric on the stitched design. So what happened, I was told, the original pattern called for a different color fabric, which was a sort of darker sea foamy green. The dyer of the fabric had since changed the formula for the fabric, and the color was now turning out different, and the designers of the Drawn Thread instead decided to stitch this now on a different color fabric. So you might see it's meant to be on this sort of smoky blue, and that is what is included in the kit. It's a 32 count smoky pearl in this lovely grayish bluish color, like I said. I did really like it on the green though. So when we went to create nostalgia the next day, I'm just going to show it here. I think I might have found the perfect green color for this. So they had a lot of this Sea Lily Witchelt article 283. It's not the water lily, it's a sea lily. It's a darker, like I said, more sort of sea foamy green. And the lovely ladies at the Create Nostalgia cut it for me from the roll to size as well. I have not decided if I'm going to stitch it on the green or on the gray just yet. I think definitely both make sense. Obviously it's a moonlight garden, so it's garden in you know, at night, but I did see it on the green, and I think I'm leaning more towards green than the blue. Here you can see it with the colors. I think none of the colors will get lost, but like I said, I need to think about it. I would love to start it sometime soon, but it's definitely one of the designs I want to give my full attention to when I start it, and not put it aside for a few months until I get a chance to stitch on it again. So I'm hoping to finish a few things first and then give it a start. The other thing I really wanted to get from the Nimble Thimble store was a shepherd's bush kit. Like I said, I fell in love with the shepherd's bush designs a while back, and then since stitching on the garden spells in July, I was even more inspired to get another kit from them. The Nimble Thimble have quite a few I've chosen one that fits the garden theme that I seem to be drawn to recently, and has a funky moon, as I say. And so this is the Harvest Moon, designed in 1993. So it's quite an old one, but like I said, as far as I know, none of the Shepherd's Bush kits are out of production. They might just have difficulty sourcing some of the original materials. So I have seen quite a few of these designs with these wonky moons, and I fell in love with them and wanted to stitch at least one. And the garden one seemed to be just hitting the right spot. So like I said, because it's a kit, it contains everything you need to stitch it. Lovely linen, which looks like 32 count, some silks, a color of DMC pearl, and then some beads and some embellishments as well. I think there's an organizer hiding somewhere in there probably as well, but yeah, again, not sure when I'm going to start it, but absolutely fell in love with the design, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a whip very, very soon. I think the rest of my haul from the Nimble Thimble were gifts from my friends and family, and the last design I bought for myself that I saw and absolutely fell in love with from first sight was a Cotton Pixels design, which, as it turns out, is a very recent release, as of June 26th, I think, and it's a strawberry thief that you might imagine reminds me of my cat, boy cat Valera. So he has been actually quite more adventurous in the last few weeks, has been going out into the garden, having some lovely garden walks, and going into the bushes with strawberries and raspberries. So when I saw this design, it reminded me so much of him that I absolutely had to go and get it. The cat itself is stitched with beads, and so are his eyes, and some of the strawberries as well. And he hasn't stolen any strawberries, but he's definitely a thief and steals my spools of threads. He steals my husband's pencils when he is doing some renovation works and, needs to sort of mark something down with those. He's stolen some wall anchors. Definitely tried to steal some food off our plates as well. So we call him a thief, but this design just made me smile and just tied all the things together for sure. And this is one of the designs that I'm thinking of starting for my cat's birthday in August. I am debating if I want to add another cat somewhere in the background for Moira. She's not so brave though, and doesn't go into the garden much. She only goes out a few steps onto the decking and then goes back in. She's definitely not been in the grass and nowhere near the strawberries. But I do have two of them, and they are a brother and a sister. So I think I might want to add another cat somewhere, just like peeking out from behind the grass and the greens. But yeah, absolutely love this. I got a couple of freebies. This was from the Nimble Thimble. I got a couple of freebies from them, from the Shepherd's Bush, that come with these buttons where you pay basically for the button, not for the kit. Where you basically pay for the button, not for the pattern. But the patterns are on the front of the sheet, and there is no sort of stitched preview, so I can't show you those. But there is a Halloween one and a Christmas one. And yeah, I think that was all of my purchases from the Nimble Thimble. We had a lovely walk in the remains of the Flint Castle that day, and had a trip to the beach. And then on day 3, we went to Create Nostalgia, located near Mold in northern Wales, like I said. So besides getting the green fabric for the drawn thread design, I picked up a few patterns. So Create Nostalgia, again, if you don't know them, they have a website. It's createnostalgia.co.uk. They are fantastic. They source a lot of the kits and flosses and materials and patterns from America, and have a lot of materials to kit most of the things for. Two designs caught my eye a few weeks ago and absolutely stole my heart. It is a new designer to me, definitely not new to everyone else, and these are my first designs by Plum Street Samplers. I fell in love with these cats. Again, something about wonky cats just scratches the right itch for me. So I got myself Olga's Tart, and she is sitting on a pumpkin, I believe. This one calls for all gentle arts but has a DMC conversion in the back. And I got her a companion, and that is Clementine, another wonky cat, very grumpy, with fantastic whiskers. And Clementine sitting on a pumpkin as well, but on a white one. I love how they use the patchwork shapes on the pumpkins. I think that's lovely. So they are going to be my companion pieces. I will most likely make pillows out of them. They use chenille trim. I need to get some and actually learn to use it. I will see what I have in stash. I will see if I can kit them from stash and maybe change some colors if I need to do that. Love them. I am so glad that I got them, and I'm going to stitch them at some point soon. Another pattern I really wanted was a tiny pillow by the Shepherd's Bush. This one calls for classic color works and weekday works, and I will see what I'm going to do about it. I might just pull things from stash most likely, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a pillow out of it as well. I also found another pattern with this black cat by the Cotton Pixels called Stitcher's Cat, and absolutely had to have it. Not only does it have a black cat, but it also has a mischievous cat that is messing with mama's flosses and needles, which is definitely something my cats do. I'm definitely going to add another cat in here. This one actually included the little hoop that will be stitched here with its own little design. And then we really liked one design by the Drawn Thread in the Nimble Thimble store. It was stitched and FFO'd and was hanging on the wall, but they didn't seem to have a pattern of it in stock. But we found a very similar one in the Create Nostalgia store, and this was the annual border. This is just the pattern, not the kit. There's no floss or fabric with it, and it calls for the same floss as the kit does, so the dinky dyes, thread gather, and needlepoint, and some Mill Hill beads as well. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to stitch it as called for and try to source all of the silks. It calls for quite a few, or if I'm going to sub them for DMCs, or maybe get in touch with the Nimble Thimble and see if they can kit it up for me with just the materials, not the pattern. So yeah, it's not going to be an immediate start, but it is a lovely, lovely design. It has the 4 seasons, it has a lovely verse, but a religious one, I think, so I'm not going to stitch that. I'm going to sub it for a quote about garden or plants or something like that. The next thing I got from Create Nostalgia was a companion piece to a Nora that I've just stitched and showed you at the beginning of the video, and this is Winter Owl. It is again part of the Holiday in the Forest collection by Nora Corbett. There's a few more designs in it, but I'm going to stop on just these two. I love these owls so much. So this one is much more humble in materials and the amount of stitches as well. It only uses one color of Karen Water Lilies that is the same as used in the hair. It uses the same bead colors. I think there's only maybe one extra color of Cryonic. And then the embellishment is 3 leaves that you can get either as part of the embellishment pack, or because I kitted both up myself, you get 2 leaves in one pack, so I got 3 packs to stitch both of them. and I'm going to stitch it on the same dark linen by Picture This Plus in color Dawn as I did the winter hair, and I'm actually hoping to do it quite soon. And then another design I really wanted to get was a small cricket collection. So ignore the cat. It is lovely as well, but I came for the Fabulous Raven. So it's a Nevermore design, I imagine referring to Edgar Allan Poe, and it is a truly fabulous raven with a gorgeous purple wing, and I think it uses some beads as well, if I'm not mistaken. No, not that I can see on the back. It uses a lovely green linen, a Garden State Java by R&R Reproductions, and is only using DMC colors, so I might stitch it in October for Halloween. Would be lovely. And then I think that was all for the patterns and designs. I also picked up this lovely mitten by Trinkets. It's a perforated paper design. It doesn't have a pattern that goes with it, but my husband really liked some traditional Eastern European patterns he found online. So he asked me to sort of chart them and stitch them for him as a Christmas ornament, which I will do on this lovely perforated paper mitten. It is 18 count, I believe, yeah. Really lovely. And then a small dream has come true. You might have seen it already in the background. So Mary actually had this lovely wooden spool in stock, and it's missing one pair of gorgeous scissors that I got in the store as well. Since I've been stitching so much Halloween in July, I got in my head that I absolutely needed, because I was missing them, a pair of black matte scissors, which I got in the store as well. And then I got this lovely wooden spool. I will insert the picture here now, though, because that's not what it looks like when you get it. It's a regular wooden spool. You can put the scissors in the center of it. The reason I got it is I've been obsessed with the idea of getting myself a scissor stand for all of my scissors. And I think I'm actually missing a pair, and I've run out of holes to put them in. So I have stained and oiled it again with furniture oil, and my husband drilled extra holes for me around the sides of it, so I can stick all of my scissors in here. And I'm also thinking that I might stitch something and wrap it around here. It is absolutely lovely. Like I said, it was a dream come true. I have seen similar ones sold on Etsy for 80-90 pounds, and this spool was $4.50, and I used, like I said, some stain and some oil, and we drilled the holes. So really nice DIY project for a lovely scissor stand, and it's now decorating my shelf. I think that was it for my haul. And then on the same day we went to Create Nostalgia, we also went to see a Roman fortress. And then we had a last stop on day 4 on our way home at one of the most beautiful places in Wales. And it is this gorgeous waterfall. I'll insert the pictures and video here, and the name of it here as well. Again, it's in Welsh, I don't want to butcher it. And we stopped there just for a few minutes, but it was just absolutely magical and amazing. Seeing it in person, seeing sort of the scale of things, definitely makes you feel very small in this world, but in a good way, you know, as you feel that you belong to this sort of bigger thing, and you are just a small part of it. It was an absolute lovely trip we had, and it ended on a really high note as well, where at the pub that was located near the waterfall we spotted a Mirabilia in the wild. So I think it was Queen of the Fairies or Midsummer Fairy, correct me if I'm wrong. I'll insert the picture here and apologize for the glare. That was the only angle I could take a picture of it from. I asked the owners about the design and they couldn't tell me who stitched it or if any one of the current staff there did cross stitch in the first place, but yeah, we spotted her. So yeah, we had the best time on the trip, and then we had a really lovely week off at home, just sort of going to some local events in Nottingham, spending time with our cats, again doing more innovations. Another cool place we visited was an open air theatre play in Wallerton Hall, and we both really loved the whole open air theatre concept. You bring your camping chairs, you bring your snacks and your drinks, some people brought dinner, and we're having just the best time, and you feel like this little camping community with also lovely entertainment with fantastic actors. I've been, like I said, cross-stitching more since we've come back from holiday. I only managed to stitch a little bit where we stayed there. The place was lovely. We both had definite FOMO on holiday, and instead of just resting and relaxing, tried to do all the things that you never get the chance to do when you're not on holiday and have all of the work and house things going on. So yeah, I think this is probably it. It was a lovely month, stitching wise as well as life wise. I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it interesting. If you have any questions or comments, would like to recommend me, would like to comment on my choice of fabric for the Zar lady, or want to know the conversion I did for the Boo design by Hello from Liz Matthews, feel free to comment below or message me on Instagram. I don't currently have a plan of videos for August. I haven't had a chance to think ahead yet, but you will see some videos on this channel in August. So yeah, hope you will have fantastic stitching to do in August and have some lovely summery or Halloweeny or whatever kind of designs you like, starts, whips and finishes. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Have a lovely stitching time, and I will see you later. Bye!